Hey scrapbook friends, it's Nicole, and I am finally back with you after what ended up being a much longer break than I had anticipated. I knew that I was going to be gone for part of November, but then I got home and it was time for Thanksgiving, and then I had my open house, and here it is, the 1st of December. But that's great because I want to share this beautiful Christmas card idea with you. This card was inspired by a card made by a fellow CM advisor friend of mine, Joy Thomas, and she very graciously allowed me to do this in a video to show you. She also let me do it as a make and take at my open house this weekend. So thank you, Joy. This card that you created has really inspired me. Okay, so what you're going to need for this, you have a little bit of a choice about the colors. I did use the bronze shimmer on this one and the platinum shimmer on this one. And you could decide, you could also use like the red, the firecracker shimmer, or even the green shimmer. You have a lot of color choices that you could use on these. You don't have to use all shimmer. I also used the autumn hay shimmer for the card front. But if you had some, last year we had in the Christmas Spirit paper pack, some paper that looked like tree branches or something. I think that would be really pretty, or a green, maybe a green with polka dots. But I just stuck with simple and wanted to use all the shimmers. So you're going to need a color for your ornament, and I'm going to use the Starry Night Shimmer. All right. You're going to need a color for your nativity, your angels, and the little ornament hanger. And I'm going to use platinum shimmer. You only need about a 3 by 12 inch piece. You don't need a whole piece. And then you need a backing piece. I think they call these card fronts. I'm not really a card maker. But this is just the autumn hay shimmer. You also need a card base to put your card on. Now you can fold your own if you have a piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 11, which is standard size in the US. You can just cut that in half, and then you get 2 card bases. They're called A2 size, or you can purchase the blank card bases from Creative Memories. They come in this nice box. You get a dozen of them for $6 with the envelopes. So to me, that's totally worth it because it has the right size envelopes to go with it. So we have our ornament, our nativity, our base, our card. Then we need our tools. You're going to need the nativity border punch. You guys who watched my new product video when this came out know that I was so excited about this. I collect nativities. I love nativities. And I'm so excited to have a really cute use for this. And then we're also going to use this petal. I don't know what the name of this is. It looks like a flower petal, but also kind of looks like a heart, a weird mutant heart, I guess. So I'm calling it the heart petal. So we're going to use the heart petal. And this was part of the mini punch trio, which came out a few months ago with the Out of This World collection. This is really a versatile punch set to have because there's lots of little things you can do with these pieces, but we're just going to use this piece right here. You also need your custom cutting system. We only need the medium size circle for this, but we're going to use the red and the blue blades. Of course, you need some adhesive. I'm going to use both regular and repositionable. And then you need a marker to draw the little hanger. So this is the metallic silver marker. I think those are all the things we need. It feels like actually a lot of things. But we're going to start by punching our nativity border. You do not need the whole border to be punched. You can get away with just punching a couple of these if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and punch the whole border so that I can refresh you about how to use the border punches. So when you get the border punches, they come closed like this in a little box. When you pull it out to use it, you're just going to slide this lever or this slider over, and it's going to release this so that you have this lever action. When you line up your punch to use it, you want to use these black lines that are printed on the front, and that's going to make sure that you position it correctly. So the first time you use some of these punches, occasionally there is a little bit of manufacturing residue. It's kind of an oily liquid. So you may want to practice punch this on like a piece of scrap paper, but that liquid is not harmful to your photos or anything like that. And some people kind of actually like the look that it gives. So here I'm going to line up my paper with the black line. You can see this is a 3-inch paper. You wouldn't want to go much smaller than this because then you wouldn't be able to see that black line. So it's lined up against the, up to the black line and pressed tight against this fence. You don't want to have it at an angle. I mean, you could, you could if you don't pay attention. So make sure that it's aligned here and here. I like to hold it with my thumb. And then when you slide it down, you can see there's the blue picture right here. And so you just want to make sure that you cover up all the blue with the part you just punched. And you can do this in either direction. I mean, if you're left-handed, you may prefer to go in the opposite direction. It doesn't matter. They got the little wings on both sides. So we're just going to quickly punch this Nativity all the way across. All right, so this one has a little tiny extra piece at the end. I'm just gonna stick it back in. You could just leave that one for what we're doing here. Some paper has like up to about 1/8 of an inch manufacturing tolerance. And I didn't even line it up very well, but okay. So let's get rid of all our confetti. And then we're left with this border. And we're going to take our scissors. I forgot to tell you, we're going to need scissors. Hopefully as a scrapbooker, you always have scissors. And I'm just going to carefully trim off these little angels. And I follow the line right here of the manger. And then here I kind of cut a little triangle so it looks a little jagged like that. So it really doesn't take long. I have done this the first time I did it, and the inspiration card that Joy made, she did a nativity with the creche and the angel together. But I liked better to cut the angels off and just have the little nativity. So we really only need one of these. I'm not going to cut the whole thing. But if you're making multiples, then of course you could just continue cutting all of these off. So we're just going to use the nativity here that I cut off and these 2 angels. And I want to take the medium circle, and you want to use your cutting mat, whether you have the CM cutting mat or another cutting mat. And what I like to do is to line this up so that the bottom is flat. So I mean, the bottom lines up along the grid. And if you see on the custom cutting system, there are these little plastic grippy feet on the bottom, and we're going to use those to help us position. So I'm going to slide this over so that the star is centered on the line. And then I'm going to take those plastic feet and put one of them on the line right here and make sure that the other one is centered on this line down here. I mean, it's not a perfect science, but you just want to kind of get it so that it's centered, and that way you know that the shape that you cut out is going to be centered. Okay, I just looked at my directions. You're going to need 2 of your circles. Sorry. We're going to use the nativity portion using the medium circle with the red blade on the inside. All right, that's going to give us this little shape, and you don't have to go all the way around because we're just doing it down here on the bottom. Make sure both feet are in the groove, and then just go around this little half circle at the bottom to get our little nativity piece out. So you could, if you had cut all these, you could go along and you can get, 3 or 4 nativities out of each row if you were making a bunch of cards. Okay, so now, I'm sorry, my earlier directions were a little bit wrong. We are going to use the big circle to make the ornament, but we're going to use the blue blade. So if you know about the custom cutting system, the different blades cut a different distance from the template. So we use the red, and if you look at these, you'll see that the little red feet are much closer to the blade, let's see, than the blue feet are. And so that's what gives you the difference in size. And that's what we want so that we can have this nice little border. So again, make sure both feet are in the groove. We're going to do the inside circle. So the large circle inside with the blue blade for the ornament, and then the medium circle inside with the red blade for the nativity. And then the last thing we need to cut before we start assembling is the little piece of the ornament hanger right here. And so we're going to use this, this heart petal. These are a little bit different because the slider's not on the top, it's underneath. So you just, same thing, you slide that and it's going to loosen that up. And I'm going to take this piece of border that's left over and we're just going to punch one heart. Actually, let's punch it upside down so we make sure that we get on the paper. And then just take your scissors and cut across. Try to cut it straight. We're just going to cut across this little piece to give us this ornament hanger. All right, now the fun part begins and we're just going to assemble. So I'm going to start with my ornament. Sometimes when I cut with the custom cutting system, I end up with a tiny little piece that's not quite right. Let's see if it'll focus on there. Can you see this little string right here? So I like to put that under there, under the ornament hanger. So I'm just going to use a little bit of adhesive. I'm going to use a regular tape runner and kind of center this as best as you can in the middle of the card. And then take the little ornament hanger top, cover up my little mistake. And at this point, you could do kind of anything with the ornament. You could cut little stars. You could have done this out of paper that had stars on it. Maybe you got some of that bedazzled paper. Lots of things you can do with the ornament. And then I'm going to take my silver pen. Now, the silver and gold metallic pens are slightly different than our other Creative Memories pens. It still has a fine tip and a wide tip, but the fine tip is wider than our other fine tip. So I'm going to use the fine tip side, and I'm just going to draw a little circle to be the ornament hanger. Okay, so now we're going to take the nativity, and to put this on, well, I like to use the repositional adhesive because it works great for this with all the cutouts. So I'm just going to use my repositional. Just use it on some kind of a backing that won't mess up your work surface. I like to use these mats from the Power Sort box or Power Layout box. So I've just put the adhesive, all that repositional adhesive all over the back. You can hopefully see those little tiny dots. Come on, little dots. There we go. All right, and anything that's extra will just rub off. So I left it with a little bit of a gap from the bottom, but I aligned it, you know, the center with the top of that. And then you just rub off any excess adhesive that might have poked out on the sides. All right. Now the angels, I do want to kind of trim up these angels a little bit just because they were kind of cut to be the leftovers. Actually, these look all right. This one has a little bit of a edge. All right, and I like to have them kind of facing each other. This is totally optional. You wouldn't have to do the angels. I think I do really like the simplicity of it without the angels. You know, see, I used my regular tape runner, and now I've got a piece that stuck over in here, so we'll just, I just broke my rule, and I used adhesive right on my mat. Don't tell anyone. I try not to do that because it does kind of sticky things up. But as long as nothing sticks to your mat, nobody will ever know. All right, so there are the angels on there. Now for the bottom, if you are a stamper, a lot of scrapbookers also do stamping. If you had a Christmas sentiment that you could stamp on here, that would be great. You might want to use like a permanent ink, pigment ink, because this metallic paper is a little bit glossy. But what I did is I just printed out some sentiments on my computer. I tried to make sure that they would be about 3.5 inches wide max, so that they would fit on the card front. And I just used different fonts and different colors, trying to come up with things. You know, like I said, I use this at my open house, and so I wanted people to have lots of choices of sentiments that they could do. So just put some kind of a sentiment down here. And of course, that's optional too. You don't have to have a sentiment on the front of a card. You might want to put that on the inside of your card. But I like the little sentiment on the front. And you're done. That's the front of your card. And then all you do is take your adhesive. I would absolutely use permanent adhesive to put this on the front of a card. I just prefer permanent, especially for cards when things are going to be handled. I used to send cards way back in the day, and I used glue sticks when I very first started stamping, and then cards would get to their destination and the card front would have fallen off and all the pieces would have come off. So use something nice and permanent. And there you go. Here is our darling little Nativity Christmas card. So fast, so easy, really quick. If you wanted to mass produce these, today's December 1st, you still have time to order this Nativity punch, some paper. You could still get a whole bunch of these cards made by Christmas if you wanted to. So I hope that this has inspired you. I hope that even if you don't choose to use the Nativity punch, maybe you could create the ornament. If you don't have the little petal flower, you could always freehand cut this. Joy, when she made her sample, she does freehand cut it. You could also cut something with like the wavy blade on your trimmer or the scallop, and then cut it into this little shape to be the ornament hanger. Lots and lots of choices to put this cute, cute Christmas card, Nativity ornament Christmas card together. Thank you so much. I hope you have fun creating. A Merry Christmas and happy scrapbooking.